In this video, we will break down how and when to use the major pentatonic, and the minor pentatonic. Then coming up, I will show you a simple connection to mix these scales together to get that blues rock sound. All this coming right up. Today we will work in the key of C, but these examples will work in any key. A general rule is when we have major chords, we can use the major pentatonic. If we look at a 1-4-5 in the key of C with just major chords, C, F, and then G. So if we look at the C major pentatonic here, putting your pinky on the root note, 8th fret of the E string, and for minor chords, you would use the minor pentatonic. So if we put our first finger on the 8th fret, C minor pentatonic. Those scales fit over the chord progressions like a glove. Those are just general rules, especially if you're just starting to solo. But now let's get to the main topic of this lesson. What if the progression has 7th and 9th chords? Let's look at C7, F9, and G9. We can use major or minor. Coming up shortly, I will show you a cool, simple way to mix these scales together. But if this lesson's helpful, hit that like button, I do appreciate it, and consider subscribing if you like this content. And importantly, hit that notification bell if you want to get notified for some upcoming content. So check out how the major pentatonic sounds over this dominant 7th progression. Now let's check out the C minor pentatonic. The major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic sound completely different, but they both work over this chord progression. Most of our favorite guitar players mix these scales together. They get that blues rock sound that we all know and love. For me, the key to mixing these scales together is locating the root note. So if we use the C root note as a guide, 5th fret of the G string right here, if we put our 3rd finger on this note, we're set up to play a minor phrase. That's how I like to look at it. If we have our 1st finger on this 5th fret of the G string, the C note, I'm set up to play major phrases. And it's that way all over the fretboard. I love doing it that way. It's simple. It gets you into different pentatonic positions that way. You don't need to say to yourself, I'm going to go up to the 3rd position now. Locate the root note and play phrases in both of those scales from the root note. Those are a minor and a major phrase playing off of that root note. If you put your 3rd finger on the root note, and we're in the 10th fret of the D string here, C, we're set up to play that minor pentatonic there. But if we use our 1st finger, we're set up to play that major phrase. So mixing these scales together right within a common shape here. So if we look at the C minor pentatonic scale, we are mixing those scales together right within that pattern. So right here in the 8th fret of the B string, full bend on 11, and then hitting 8 on the E string. And then we could walk down the minor pentatonic, 8, 11, 8 on the B string, pulling down from the blue note here in the 11th fret to the 10th fret. 8, back to the root note here in the 10th fret of the D string. Starting on the root note, ending on the root note. It's a great way to practice and just to be confident. Now if we hammer on from the minor to the major 3rd, from 8 to 9 on the G string, hitting the root note, this is a great way to practice this concept. Know that where that root note is in the 10th fret of the D string, the 10th fret of the G string's an F note, then hammer on from the 8 to 9 here, back to the root note. And you can walk down from the root note, 10, 8 on the D string, 10, 8 on the A string, and then one more fret is the major 3rd of the C. But it just really creates a great sound. Remember, you can play major or minor over these dominant 7th progressions. You can, guys, make it sound good just using the major or just using the minor, but most of them mix the scales together. Just do it in a subtle way. Just that little hammer on gives it that major sound. But these scales are in different positions all over the fretboard. Once you have it down in one position, You can do this in so many other areas of the fretboard. Once you locate that root note here in the 13th fret is a C note of the B string, major, because I have my first finger on there, minor, it works all over the fretboard. So from the root note, slide up to another pentatonic position, from 15 to 18, back to 15, and then on 18, full bend on the B string, hitting 18 on the E string, 16, 18, and then back to this root note here in the 17th fret, C note. And we could walk down the pentatonic scale right there. And I just hit a C9 chord way up here. But the root note here in the 17th fret, so 17, 15 on the G string, hitting 17, 16, 15, 14 is that E note, which is the major third of C, which takes you right to the C9 chord. So it's an art in itself just mixing these scales together. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you got something from the lesson. Let's talk soon.